Hi, I'm Sharni Bhattacharya. I'm glad to share our work about branch prediction attacks on blinded scalar multiplication. This work has been jointly done with Clementine Morris, Shivam Bhasin, and Devdeep Mukhopadhyay. The authors are affiliated to IMEC COSIC KU Leuven, IIT Kharagpur, IRISA France, and NTU Singapore. I would start this presentation with a brief introduction of the problem. Public key cryptography or asymmetric cryptography is a widely popular cryptographic system which is deployed in application that requires authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation. The generation of the public and the private key depends on the cryptographic algorithms based on the underlying mathematical problem. Elliptic curve cryptography (ECC) is an approach to public key cryptography based on the algebraic structure of the elliptic curves over finite field. The elliptic curve scalar multiplication is an operation which computes k times point p, where k is an n-bit scalar and p is a point on the elliptic curve. The scalar multiplication of point p constitutes of a series of point additions and point doublings based on the secret scalar k. The naive scalar multiplication algorithm performs point doubling for each scalar bit, while point addition is performed only when the scalar bit is set. Because of this conditional execution of point addition, this algorithm is vulnerable to timing-based side channel attacks. Another variant of the scalar multiplication is a Montgomery powering ladder. Being a balanced ladder structure, this algorithm is protected from the timing side channels. Though this algorithm is still vulnerable to branch misprediction attacks, if the branch misprediction traces from the branch prediction unit are observed on them. Moreover, it is believed that the branch prediction unit based attacks can be thwarted by applying differential power analysis (DPA) countermeasures, even when the underlying implementation is executing the secret dependent code. The reason for such belief could be the fact that DPA protections randomize the secret exponent, and therefore the doubling and addition branching sequences are apparently independent of the secret key. We would have a quick look at the DPA countermeasures in practice. The first, scalar randomization. This proposed randomization works such that instead of computing k times p, we randomize k as k plus r multiplied by hash e, which is the order of the curve. So r is a random integer and hash e represents the number of points in the curve. The countermeasure computes k dash times p, which returns the same value as kp, since hash e times p returns a point at the infinity. Next comes scalar splitting. Instead of computing kp, k is split in two parts, k minus r and r. Multiplication is then computed on the split component separately. The third popular one is a point blinding, which computes k times p plus r instead of kp, where r is a secret random point. Kr can be stored in the system beforehand, which when subtracted gives back kp. Although scalar multiplications can be written without secret dependent blocks, there exist many legacy codes and widely popular libraries like Relic which still use them in practice. Now let us talk about the objective of the work. In this work, we target the harder problem of attacking DPA countermeasures. As explained before, in spite of existing randomization, the implementation of scalar multiplication is not completely branching independent. Thus, we look into the branch misprediction traces from hardware performance counters. What are these counters? Hardware performance counters are special purpose registers specific to each processor core on a multiprocessor system and are responsible for providing microarchitectural event statistics pertaining to each processor core. Branch prediction is one of the many events which are monitored by the HPCs. The performance monitoring tool like perf subsystem in Linux makes access to the performance counters less clumsy without any kernel patches or recompiles. The perf subsystem has been already included in Linux kernel from 2.6 onwards. The tool provides privileged users to observe the performance statistics for an executable where the event being monitored is also getting affected by the environmental processes running in the system. This provides a decent way to monitor the branch misprediction traces over a target executable. But do we really understand the underlying hardware? This triggered us to look into the branch misprediction traces more closely. What we need here is an approximation of the behavior of the branch prediction unit. Branch predictors are complex structures consisting of tables associated with different history lengths. As we have focused on cryptographic algorithms, which usually target a single branch, we do not seek to reverse engineer these components separately, but rather the prediction method in general. We thus assume that the component structure has a negligible impact on our attack. we model the predictor as a state machine. To reverse engineer the predictor, we use HPCs to observe mispredictions encountered by the BPU for each branch of a known sequence of branching instructions. Perf event open system call, as in the snippet, allows us to figure and filter out the hardware events by processes, and we are able to obtain a noise-free sequence of correct predictions and mispredictions for each branch. In order to approximate the state machine that corresponds to the actual branch predictor, we first choose the sequence of branches that have a specific pattern. We start by forcing the predictor to be in a known initial state. After observing several sequences of branches, we find that the 2-bit saturating counter does not seem to model well the actual branch predictor for the recent microarchitectures. Rather, we observe that the 3-bit saturating counter seems to be a better model. The figure shows the accuracy of 4 different microarchitectures. 2 different trends appear. First, we observe that the 2-bit saturating counter machine is the best model for Nehalem microarchitecture with 88% accuracy. This is not the case anymore from Sandy Bridge, where the accuracy of a 2-bit saturating counter drops to 75%. Secondly, for Sandy Bridge microarchitecture, we observed that the 3-bit saturating counter is a very close match with a 98% accuracy. The accuracy decreases a bit, being 92% for Haswell and 90% for Broadwell, suggesting that the branch predictor has become a bit more complex. In the following side channel attack, we use 3-bit saturating counter as a model for the branch predictor, since our attacks are performed on recent CPUs. Now it's time to discuss a threat model. In our attack, we call the encryption process from the same script which instantiates the perf handler as in this figure. However, there is no synchronous communication maintained between these two processes. The perf object is instantiated with an event that is used as a sampler. For example, if the instruction count event is used as a sampling event, an interrupt is issued when the counter exceeds the value of the sample fee event. We measure the branch miss event counter on such an interrupt. This provides the perf handler to monitor with a fine granularity. Thus, any cryptographic module running in the sample system is sampled at a particular frequency of execution. The branch misprediction samples collected by the handler are asynchronously observed over the cryptographic module, and there exists no direct communication between these two modules. This essentially means that the samples being asynchronous in nature, it lacks the trigger signals and thus makes one-one correspondence more difficult with the concurrently running cryptographic module. A more optimistic scenario would be when the perf handler and the target cipher are running from two different scripts, as shown in the figure B. In both of these scenarios, code execute on the same processor core, sharing the BPU, and we observed that the distributions generated by the perf values of the both leak significant information. This figure shows the execution of such a scenario, where curve1174 scalar multiplication is repeatedly getting invoked and the perf statistics are noted using the perf handler. From this figure, it is evident that just by looking at the bunch of high sample points along the time scale, one could distinguish the trace points that are getting affected by the execution of curve 1174. We invite you to read our paper, where we also provide a quantitative discussion on the same. However, in the subsequent attack demonstration, we refer to the scenario in figure A, as here the noise level is lesser and the perf handler does not explicitly control the target cipher, thus maintaining the practicality of the attack. Now we discuss the practical problems at hand. First, the branch misprediction samples are inherently noisy because of its asynchronous nature of the measurement. Secondly, the traces lack proper synchronization because of the interrupt-driven perf handler call as appears in the snippet. The third problem is that the target algorithm is randomized in nature, which also adds to the difficulty of the attacker. Thus, we propose an offline template attack. The template attack is composed of a template building phase followed by a template matching phase. During the template matching phase, we perform a deduce step to derive the values of an unknown set of keys based on the observed performance event, followed by a remove step to eliminate observations that have a low confidence or which are erroneous by introducing extra checks. An erroneous deduction may affect subsequent key recovery. Therefore, the remove step as well as an accurate model of the branch predictor are of crucial importance here. Next, we move to the deduce and remove on scalar splitting. Here we collect n pair of traces for each of k minus r times b and rp executions. In the first step, we perform template matching on first t bits and deduce candidate values which match respectively for each of the n pair of samples. Next, we take pairwise summation of such values which give us the candidate values for the first t bits of the secret key. The figure shows the majority voting of the next 3 bit positions from the LSB for the candidate values, where the correct bits clearly have a high majority. We want to stress on the fact here that the majority voting scheme was very instrumental in deciding the overall success of the attack. The behavior of the branch misses has a huge similarity to the 3-bit predictor characteristics. Thus, we decide only on 3 bits at a time. Once we identify 3 bits, we retrace the split scalar values individually and remove the candidate values for both k-r and r which do not tally the retrieved bits. We iteratively apply this same adaptive template matching method to reveal the next bits without error. For the exact details on the template matching techniques, we invite the viewers to have a look at the paper. Next, we move to the deduce and remove on the scalar randomization. The template matching phase in scalar randomization works on n misprediction traces, just as before. In this particular example, after performing template matching by the least square method, each of the blinded scalars may have multiple candidate values to match the traces. The reason is simply that the acquired traces can be noisy. We can take 3 consecutive instances from the nstat set. We choose here the sets like Ri, Ri plus 1th and Ri plus 2th and perform subtraction on all pair of the candidate values. The efficiency of this deduce and remove strategy is illustrated in this figure. More than 93% of the traces could identify the last 3 bits correctly among the candidate values. Knowing 3 bits, we update the state of the predictor and perform the template matching on the next 3 bits. This gets us to a generalized algorithm of the template building from the perf samples. Let us assume that the adversary seeks to identify the ith bit of the jth blinded scalar. In this process, the adversary acquires again n number of independent blinded traces of the branch mispredictions. The assumption for this attack is such that the previous blinded bits have to be retrieved beforehand for finding out the ith blinded bit. For each of the guesses, either 0 or 1, the template building phase required 2 sets of traces. One from the simulated branch misses and other from the actual perf samples from the HPCs. So, for each of the 2 guesses, the adversary simulate the branch misses corresponding to all subsequent modular reduction function calls for the ith bit of the jth blinded scalar. To do so, the adversary uses the b-bit predictor model and generates a trace of simulated misprediction branch sequences. We construct 2 bins for each of the k modular reduction operations based on whether they have a simulated branch miss at a particular modular reduction step. Now, we fill the bin miss with samples from BM-perf for the kth particular modular reduction if there has been a simulated branch miss in the simulated traces. Otherwise, we fill the bin no miss if there has been no misprediction. In this part of the talk, we focus on algorithms which do not include any direct control flow moderation based on the secret bits. Thus, we go one step further to understand the template building and template matching of intermediate data-based conditional structure of modular reduction. Curve 1174 follows a unified formula where both of the doubling and addition operations are performed using the same set of long integer multiplications. Each of the long integer multiplication has a modular reduction step which is typically carried out using data-dependent conditional structure. This structure is dependent on the input data as well as the secret scalar. The success rate of the attack on scalar splitting is illustrated in figure 8. The figure shows the percentage of sequences that has successfully retrieved the blinded scalar for 4 consecutive bit positions over 10,000 sample traces. Similarly, this attack is highly efficient to retrieve blinded scalar bits in scalar randomization countermeasure as illustrated in figure B. We plot the success, failure and inconclusive percentages of 10,000 blinded scalars getting retrieved in each of the cases. In this work, we also made a comparison on the efficiency of the template matching techniques. The figures illustrate the comparison across different template matching techniques. All of the 3 techniques such as mean and noise covariance, mean LSQ and mode LSQ work with significant accuracy. Thus, we can conclude from the results on both Curve 1174 and Curve 25519 that they are equally compatible as an estimate for successful template matching. This brings us to the discussion of the paper. We present the first template attack on the branch misprediction traces. We also show that the recent generation of the branch predictors can be modeled more precisely with a 3-bit saturating counter simulation. We reveal the secrets from Curve 1174, Curve 25519 with GPA countermeasure enabled, having doubling and addition always algorithm implementation, which is free from conditional branching on the secret scalar. We also show the applicability of this attack on public libraries such as Relic. Randomization in several layers of the algorithm and measurements can only make the attack more difficult, as the adversary may be able to obtain more fine-grained traces. This brings us again to the open challenge of rethinking the structure of the branch predictor at the hardware level, such that they are inherently secure against these attacks. I thank you all for all your attention. This work has been generously funded by IIT Kharagpur, KU Leuven, CNRS France and NTU Singapore. I invite you to have a look at the paper available at the IEEE TC website. Thank you all.